everyone, and welcome back to the channel, Real Chalk Reviews. Here with the review for Tyler Perry's Zatima. This is Season 4, Episode 4, Obsession. So we open up the episode exactly where we left off, with Fatima getting ready to whip Deja's behind for being in her house if Zach doesn't handle it first. Zach is trying to calm Fatima down. Preston is over there apologizing because he didn't know anything was going on between the two of them. And that's why I found it odd in the finale that Deja was even in their house after the funeral talking to Preston and slipping him her phone number, and nobody said a word. So then Deja brings up she was going to tell Fatima about her doula services, and all of a sudden that wins Fatima over and gets her a seat at the table. And that's how I know this baby has Fatima's emotions all over the place, because I wouldn't give two rats' tails what doula services Deja was trying to provide. I wouldn't want her to be my doula. I will continue to look. And like Angela said, I've never heard of a stripper doula. Now they're all sitting down. Everybody seems to be calm, cool, and collected. They're giving Fatima her props for putting everything together, being that she's a full-time employee and pregnant all at the same time. Zach tells her she doesn't have to work full-time, and Fatima says she loves her job. Zach says that Fatima's been working so hard that eventually her name will be on the outside of the law firm, saying Benson, Jones, and Taylor. I guess she'll be replacing Barnes, which would be Andy. But she says that's part of her plan to one day be partner. So Preston says that he wished he was a property attorney, and Fatima says, what do you need? They get into the whole thing about the commercial property that he mentioned to Zach and Bryce earlier, and how they're running into some roadblocks with it. They talk about the discrimination aspect of it all, and Preston says that there could also be mafia ties. And Zach was like, you didn't say nothing about that. So like I said in the last episode, Bryce seems to have this nonchalant attitude about the whole discrimination thing, as if it can't happen to him. So he puts it all on Zach, like, oh, he comes from nothing, but he's this hard worker, blase squaze. And Fatima has to read him real quick, to the point where now he's apologizing, as he always does, saying he shouldn't have been dismissive of their concerns, as if he doesn't have one. But anyway, Fatima tells them she'll look into getting them an attorney, and they all toast to this being their first property together and the new baby. So when Deja drinks the wine, she damn near spits it out, because she says it tastes like butt. Baby, when I tell you Bryce was heated, he had to give this long speech about when it was made, who made it, what top of the mountain it came from out of Italy. And Deja told him, take that ish back to Italy. So Angela brought up the gumbo and told Preston that she needs that recipe. Deja told her, you got your own man, share his recipe, stay away from mine. And was dead serious. And it's funny how she's sitting next to Fatima after trying to get with her man for the longest. But nevertheless, Preston brings her back to reality and lets her know they are not dating. He's about his business, he's into his work, and he's emotionally unavailable. Angela says she's also emotionally unavailable, and then Bryce is like, oh, you are? And I'm like, why are we doing this? For the life of me, I don't understand why they're trying to force a relationship between Bryce and Angela. She can easily get her another man that she's attracted to, have no problems with, and is willing to settle down with. Let's make that happen. The only time we need to see Bryce is over there at Rise Ventures with Zach, okay? That's it, and that's all. For Bryce to sit up here and act like Angela hasn't told him 101 times that she does not want a relationship with him is exhausting, and I'm not going. So Deja was still over there in delusional land with Preston, and Fatima had to tell her, look, he does not want you. The only reason you're in here is because of him. And they bring up the whole doula thing again, and come to find out she is not certified. They call her doula because she was helping these 9-month pregnant strippers deliver their babies in the strip club. Baby, Deja is a whole fool. It was giving that scene up in Color Purple when he was like, uh-oh, time to go. Fatima told Zach, get her from up out of here before I pull her lungs up out of her chest. So Zach tells her she has to go. No more eating, no more drinking. She says, oh, y'all didn't even eat my salmon croquettes. Angela said, is that what that was? He says, I hope they were coasters. I'm like, baby, not the coasters. Them things had to have been harder than a rock. So as everybody is getting up to leave and saying their goodbyes, we see Leslie with her stalker ass standing in their window taking it all in, looking and dressed exactly like Fatima. So then the camera takes us outside with this fool, and she starts talking to herself saying that Fatima took her friends and her family, beating herself all up in the head and biting her fingers, and then she readjusted herself and walked off saying, okay, like she has split personalities or something. I'm like, the actress playing Leslie is doing a great job playing cray cray. So in the next scene, we see Leslie and Malachi, aka Martin from Beyond the Gates. And it looks like he's getting off from work heading to the parking garage. So she calls him acting like everything is cool and he doesn't want to be bothered. He's like, how did you get my number? And baby, when I tell you, he said Leslie like 50,000 times. I'm like, if he calls her name out one more time, I know something. Now come to find out, they haven't been together in 4 months and she's blaming Fatima. So I'm trying to figure out, are they separated or are they divorced? Because they were married last season. But anyway, he realizes that she sounds a lot closer than just on the phone and asks her where she is. So she gets out the car and she realizes he has a new ride and shows that she's pregnant. And he's like, whoa. He wants to know how she's pregnant. And she says, the birds and the bees, fool. So they go back and forth and she says she's never cheated and he flat out tells her that he can't have kids. And I feel like if they were married for all those years, she should have already known that. So she asks him, why can't the miracle baby be his? Is it because of Fatima? And he recognizes that she's dressed like Fatima and has her hair like hers, and how he knows that is beyond me. So she started professing her love about what she can be to him, and Fatima don't care nothing about him, blah, blah, blah. So he tells her, look, I want the baby tested, but I'm not waiting for the baby to be born. I want it tested in the womb and I'll pay for it. Now she's standing there looking crazy in her face, hyperventilating because she didn't expect that from him, saying, I didn't know they did that. He was like, yep, they do. So then she starts trying to think of something quick and ends up putting on this little Oscar performance where she falls on the ground and he is attempting to help her and says he'll call an ambulance, but she didn't want that. So he's trying to go get in his car, and I feel he kind of low-key pushed her the second time and basically pulled off, leaving her there talking about, ow, ow, the baby. She gets up and walks off. Ow, Malachi. This lady is cuckoo. And we find out just how bad it is in the next scene when she goes home and she takes the fake pregnancy belly off and goes into this room where she's sitting on the bed looking crazy as hell with a shrine of pictures of any and everything that has to do with Fatima. She is obsessed. So we go back over there to Zach and Fatima's house, and they're giving us this full circle moment from season 1 when Zach was kissing her second set of lips, but this time the visuals are totally different. He can't see how good he's pleasing Fatima because her belly is in the way. So Zach says something about it and instantly Fatima is turned off and she's done. So I'm going to chalk it up to her hormones and this pregnancy because Fatima is not even the clingy type, but she's still upset that Zach went to the office and didn't tell her ahead of time instead of staying with her and spending time and helping her out. And now this season they're making it seem like Zach doesn't have time for anything because he says if he doesn't work, they don't eat, and he has to stay on the grind, which means he will be working morning, noon, and night whenever he can. And she's like, oh, perfect timing for that. But eventually he makes her laugh and she tells him, all I need for you to do is keep your promises and make time for your family. So Zach does her one better and he turns his phone off and says that the next day will be all for her, no interruptions. RIP to his phone. And that instantly puts Fatima back in the mood and they do what they do. But then we see a hidden camera in Zach and Fatima's bedroom that takes us back to Lonely Leslie's bedroom where she is watching them on her cell phone and pleasuring herself as they make love. I'm like, unbelievable. So we go back over there to Zach and Fatima's and they are in a deep slumber. Zach is dreaming and we get a whole sequence where him and Fatima and Michael, which we haven't seen in a while, and he's looking cute. The whole family is looking cute, but then 2 cops and CPS pull up and basically serve him papers where they're going to take Michael. Of course, Zach is resisting at first, but Fatima convinces him this is the right thing to do. He gets real emotional and he talks to Michael, trying to make him understand why he's going with these people and promises him that it won't be for long. And he ends up waking up in a sweat, and Fatima comforts him as they lay there. And that's where the episode ends. Child, all I have to say is Looney Leslie is crazy and deranged. If you have a daughter, do not name your child Leslie. They have a crazy Leslie over there on Beyond the Gates and one over here. Don't do it. Leslie's storyline is very intriguing. She had the episode popping for me, and I can't wait to see what else she has in store. But she needs to be locked up quick, fast, and in a hurry. And I feel like when Zach turned his phone off, if the continuity stays on point, it's going to play a part that nobody can reach him in a time of need because the phone is off. But we'll see. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. And as always, you guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.